Hi, and welcome to this episode of Brainy Moms, brought to you today by Learning RX Brain Training Centers. I'm your host, Dr. Amy Moore, coming to you today from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I am joined by my co-host, coming to us from Stanton, Virginia, Sandy Zamalis. Sandy and I are so excited to welcome our guest today, Dr. Tamara Beckford. Dr. Beckford is a wife, mom, board-certified emergency physician, and CEO of You Are Caring Docs and You Are Caring Society, where she helps busy professional women put their wellness first without guilt. Dr. Beckford has spoken about the importance of self-care on many platforms and is the host of the Dr. Tamara Beckford Show, where she has interviewed over 150 doctors about self-care and wellness. She is here today to talk to us about why self-care is not selfish.
Welcome, Dr. Beckford.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I'm so excited to be on your show today.
Self-care is a topic that is so important for busy moms, but it can be a little bit controversial, especially when you individualize what self-care looks like for you. But before we dig in, give our listeners a little bit about your background and how you ended up doing what you do.
Absolutely. So as you lovely ladies mentioned, I'm Dr. Tamara Beckford, and I'm a board certified emergency physician. I am working out of Houston, Texas. So within the last, I'd say, practicing now for almost like 14 years, there's this little thing that occurred over the last 2.5 years. It's called the pandemic. It's just this minor interruption that occurred in our lives, if you remember, this minor thing. But during that time, I recognized that I was really living on autopilot during those first 10 or so years of, at that point, working as an ER doc, career mom, wife. As a mom at that time, during the latter half, my kids are very, very young. During the pandemic, when it started, my son, I had a 1.5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Now, my stress level was really up to the hill. And I think that it was just normal stress. And then the pandemic came and I had to make that decision. Am I just going to continue being stressed out and being anxious and worrying consistently because that's where we were? Or was I going to try to make a different decision? So I think my body and my mind decided, like, you know what? No, we're not going this route. We're already too stressed out. So I noticed that I started doing things a little bit different. And that as I looked at myself and then I looked at my colleagues, I noticed that we had two different ways of approaching life. Our attitudes at work were different. Our stress levels were different. And I started to wonder, well, why was that? And I realized it's because I started to incorporate self-care. So these are some of the techniques that I incorporated in myself. And as I looked and noticed that, so did others. My medical director, he said, hey, you're fair enough a little bit different than your colleagues. And I'm like, yeah. My colleagues were saying, hey, you're so zen. You must be practicing what you preach. And I said, I absolutely am. And so that's when I realized, like, wow, the power of self-care. It's not just something that we do so that we can feel great. It really is a superpower that we need to tap into so that we can continue to do all the wonderful things that we do with all this grace and, and feel as best as we can for most of the time, because it's not possible to feel great all the time. And we acknowledge that.
Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about some basics, right? Yes. We hear this term self-care all the time. And I know for me, sometimes it creates this visceral response, right? Where someone's like, well, what do you do for self-care? And I'm like, oh, I'm like, quit asking me that. And I'm like, I get my nails done. That's all I need. So
I love it.
So talk to us a little bit about what that term self-care really means.
Absolutely. And I love that you used that example of the visceral nail salon / no, I'm not going to the spa. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not making 5 million appointments to go get my hair done in the name of self-care, right? So self-care really is incorporating all the activities that you used to do for yourself to align your mind, your body, and your spirit that you might have lost during this time where you're now riddled with titles. You're a career woman, you're a mom, you're a wife, but who is Amy? You know, what did Amy like to do before she became Dr. Amy? You know, what did Sandy like to do before all of these titles came around? What did Tamara like to do? If we really look at ourselves, we got lost in the sauce. So what I use when I talk about self-care is really bringing back the essence that is the time that you use for yourself to make you feel at peace and to bring back that you when you were younger, when you had all the freedom, no responsibilities, you know, when you were just at your most happiest moment in time, or you were just at peace. That's what self-care is. It's not really nails. For some people it is, but for most of us it's not.
That's a really broad definition for sure. I mean, because what brings you peace might not be what brings me peace. What brings you joy might not be what brings me joy. What you miss before you had all these titles might not be what I miss, right? And so that, gosh, I feel like just that simple explanation takes so much pressure off the idea that I need to be doing something for self-care as opposed to what do I need to put back in my life that I miss?
Exactly.
And
that's it. What do I bring back versus what do I have to do? Because if for me, that same visceral response that you have, having to have something every 2 weeks, I have to go and get my nails done. Every two, like that's not self-care for me. That is stress for me. Now, being able to say, okay, I'm going to take 20 minutes to myself every morning to just do something that I love. You know what? There's this really great book that I love, and it just brings me peace to just read it really quickly before the rest of the world starts attacking me and asking me for everything. That's self-care. You know? So it really, like you said, bringing back versus taking away. We're getting taken from consistently. So what can we bring back to ourselves?
So we don't have to add any new routines or morning journaling.
Well, that morning journaling, and that's the beauty of self-care. I love that you say that. Like, so I could say, like, Sandy, have you journaled for your self-care? If journaling is bringing you stress, the answer is no.
Definitely.
You know, the answer is no. If it's like podcasting, if we're listening to a wonderful podcast that just really brings you peace, then that answer is yes. That's what I'm doing for self-care. Like, you know, self-care is an alignment of your mind, your body, and your spirit. It's not an antagonistic pole of what someone else likes to do. I mean, you test it out, you don't like it, guess what? That's not for you. Right. And that's it. So what is supposed to be bringing you peace? So what brings you peace? What makes you feel more at ease? It could be something that you add to your routine that you've never thought about, that you tried and you're like, wow, I really like this and I feel great doing it. But it also could be something that you used to do that you miss doing because you didn't have the time. And so you're bringing it back and you're making that time for yourself. And it's individualized. Self-care is very individualized.
I love the freedom that gives us to define it and not feel guilty about how we define it. And so we have this joke. If you listeners hear me talk about coffee on every single episode. And so occasionally I go, well, maybe I need to give up my afternoon latte. I'm like, no, that is my form of self-care.
Absolutely.
Is to have that because the smell brings me joy. The tactile experience of holding that warm cup brings me peace and comfort. It's relaxing. I love the taste. That to me is a form of self-care.
It is.
Once I defined it that way, I stopped feeling guilty about it.
Absolutely. And it brings about all the hormones that are associated with self-care, right? You have that anticipatory hormone, you have that bonding period, you have that reward. And, and you're probably at peace because the way you've described how you're having that afternoon espresso or your afternoon coffee, it sounds like you're taking some time to yourself to just enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You're not scarfing it down. And
Right. I'm not doing espresso shots.
Yeah, you're really just, and so I bet you that there's so many things physiologically within your body. Your heart rate's probably gone down. Your cortisol level has gone down. Your tension, your shoulders are probably nice and relaxed. Your body's in a relaxed pose. And then your mind is either empty or thinking about something that's pleasurable, that's releasing more pleasurable hormones in your body. That's self-care. That's just similar to that person who is sitting and meditating and taking that breath down. Now, rest assured, yes, you might have some of your listeners who are like, well, coffee, it's a stimulant. And yes, we understand.
Whatever.
But it's the act of the act of everything that goes along with it that brings you peace. Like, why would we want to take that away?
Right? Yes. So I'm gonna take this clip of what you just said, and I'm gonna actually share it with my physician. And I'm just gonna say, well, Dr. Tamara Beckford said that this is an appropriate form of self-care because that's how I'm defining it. And listen to the physiological benefits
that you're getting
from this. So, in all seriousness, speaking of benefits, talk to our listeners about what are the benefits of
self-care.
Yes.
Oh man, there's so many great benefits. So, the health, of course, we'll talk about the health. Yeah, I'm a doctor. Okay, I'll go back. So there's so many great health benefits of self-care. Now, one of the aspects of life that we talked about and even I mentioned is the cortisol level that is consistently being level is high because they're consistently producing a lot of cortisol within our bodies, right? And that's one of our stress hormones. So you're under a lot of stress. I'm under a lot of stress. I work in the ER. I'm pretty sure if you were to draw my cortisol and check my cortisol level, it's consistently high. So to have something that brings me joy, that brings me peace, that helps to really relax me, that's a healthy way of bringing the cortisol levels down. Now, why is this important? The cortisol level is your stress hormone. There are a lot of things that it parts of our bodies that it affects, right? Now, you're supposed to just really have that stress hormone when that tiger is coming after you. If you guys are watching, there isn't really a tiger behind me, and therefore I don't really need that stress hormone to be there because I don't need the extra energy to run away from a tiger. But this way life is, we have now incorporated that as just, it's now a part of physiologically that we're releasing it from our day to day, and our body can't tell like, okay, we need to slow this down. So we need to have periods in our lives that we can really have these hormone levels slow down. And in doing so, we have to try to do it physiologically, right? By working on our stress, our persistently high stress lives. And that's important. High blood pressure, reducing the stress reduces your pressure. Reduce the cortisol, breaks down into steroid. It is a steroid. High sugar consistently in the body. It causes issues with weight gain. So there are just so many of that physiological issue. Now, benefits of
well, let me stop you right there. So
sure.
For listeners, this is a term that you might relate to. What Dr. Tamara Beckford is saying is that you are stuck in the fight or flight response all day when you are living a stressful life.
Consistently stressful life. Yeah. And so that fight or flight response, you're consistently just releasing that hormone that is supposed to be released in a short burst to help you get away from that tiger, which is what our physio, but you're living that stressful life. So the hormone is just consistently being released. So you're not getting a burst, it's just consistently being released, and that's not good for us. So with you incorporating self-care, incorporating ways to reduce your stress, you can now tell the body, I'm not under stress. So the body will say, oh, I don't need to release this excessive hormone. So that's a great way. Now, there are also benefits, which is sleep. Sleep is such a huge benefit within our body. So we know that a great part of self-care is getting great sleep. Now, I know we have some people out there like, yeah, 3 hours is all I need.
No.
Thank you. Not. Your body is like, oh Lord, there we go again, depriving me of stress and depriving me of sleep, pardon me. But there are just so many benefits of sleep, which is a great part of self-care. Now, sleep is a restorative portion of our body, right? It's our rest and reset button. So our cells, they need to reset. They have to do their housekeeping, get rid of all the old and dead portions, and then to restore this new lovely portion, which is why people who get rest look so great and have great skin. I mean, why do you think you're putting on your retinol at night? You think we're putting on, come on, ladies. Do you think that they're putting on their retinol in the daytime? No, we're putting it on at night to restore ourselves. So that's the importance of sleep. Plus our bodies, another important aspect of sleep is to deal with our hunger hormones. So, our body goes and it knows, okay, let me reset this pattern. And therefore, if we're up all night, you notice that your body's just like, okay, well, let's just keep snacking. Right. So, but when you get some rest, then the hunger hormones gets to be reduced. And that, of course, will help with not just weight loss. That's important, but it just helps with our healthy body and our hunger and our cravings, period. So that's another importance of self-care, right? Rest, sleeping. And you notice we haven't even spoken about the salon. We haven't spoken about the nail shop. We just spoke about rest and sleeping and reducing our stress. So another great importance of self-care is community. And that's something that I love. And a lot of times when we think about self-care, we're not thinking about community. But community is a great part of self-care. Think about it, ladies, like when you have set up to hang out with people you love hanging out with, think about how you feel when that time is coming up. You're like, okay, well, we're having ladies' night, or we're all meeting here, we're all gathering out. You have that lovely anticipatory hormones. When you go out, you're laughing, you're releasing additional sets of hormones, you're bonding, which is another set of hormones. And then when you go home, you anticipate another time to be able to meet up with these people. That's another portion of self-care. And, so hanging out or being around like-minded people who brings you joy, that's the alignment of spirits that I love to talk about incorporating in self-care. So these are just really simple ways. Now, and these are different ways to think about self-care, right?
Absolutely.
Still haven't talked about the salon.
Well, right. And it doesn't feel selfish if you think about it that way.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you brought up that community piece. I feel completely relaxed and fulfilled by having lunch with my husband after church.
Mhm.
Right? Like if he says to me, let's go to lunch, just the two of us, to me, I feel like that is a form of self-care, taking
Absolutely.
that time to
Mhm.
nurture that relationship,
Absolutely.
right? That sense of connection. And then if we go shopping and he buys me stuff afterwards, then that's a bonus.
I mean, like, that's like the ultimate care.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just really, but when you think about it, these are short bursts, little things that you can do that has big effect on the way you feel and just the way that you approach life, right? But they're just very small things. And all of this is individualized. Like for you, you're mentioning, I love, going after church and having lunch with my husband. Someone else, it might be like, oh my gosh, I love having game night with my blank blank. There are times that we come together with laughter or even just connectivity. The whole point is that oxytocin release, is that bonding. It's a bonding hormone. That's the same hormone that bonds mother to child. And a lot of times we think like that's it, but our body still has a hormone. It didn't like, okay, let me flip that switch off. Thank you guys. Your kids are not grown. The hormone is still within the body. So when you connect with someone, and I always say that hormone, the connectivity, you can connect with the wrong person, you can connect with the right person, but it's going to release. So, you choose who you want to be around. Yeah. So when you're around someone consistently, you find that you start to bond with them. That's that hormone that's connecting you and having you bond. So if you're bonding with people who bring you peace and makes you feel happy, like I do, I have that set of people in my life that every Wednesdays are my hardest days. Like, ladies, Wednesdays are my hardest days, but yet still it's the most fulfilling day because I get to connect with others who are like-minded. So as much as it's a hard day, that had I not have this schedule to connect with these people, I would probably be stressed out, because after my periods, I'm just relaxed, and then I go about the rest of my week. It's as if like it's a short burst of my espresso in the middle of the week.
I love that. I read this study once, it's been forever ago, but it was something like if you sit arm to arm, like flesh to flesh, for 10 minutes with someone that you care about, that it lowers cortisol levels and releases oxytocin.
Yes.
And so the simple act of sitting on a couch next to someone you like.
And if you really think about it, there are a lot of times, which is why the hormone is so powerful. And it said, you're going to bond irrespective, right? When you are really, there's how many times have we read studies, even when it comes to like intimacy, like you just need to be there. Just the skin is a powerful organ that we really don't like take into account how powerful it is, because they're just like, yeah, I have acne, I have wrinkles. But there's just so many other things that's out there. I mean, when we think about just from birth, from mom to baby, when you have your baby and you put your baby on your chest, skin to skin, immediately hormones are released. For the woman, your breast is filled with milk just from that skin to skin. Now, when you move beyond that, and then you're also having that release of the oxytocin, that bonding, when you're, like you mentioned, beside someone that you care about, you're not even talking, you're not even having a conversation, you're just there. And I mean, for a lot of us who've had, like, I'm here with my husband, I've done that sometimes, and I just feel happy. You're like, and just like peace. Yeah. And so if you have that person that you love, it's there. Even if you do it with your child, it's the same thing.
Well, it's good for them too.
Absolutely. Yeah, they get that bonding, and that hormone is there. And and then you can just see that they just feel loved, and you haven't said anything. Yeah. So imagine just using this thing. I mean, it's such a powerful hormone. So it doesn't have to be with a loved one. The same hormone is exuded when you're there connected with people you care about, such as your friends, like a really great friend that you just love spending time with. The hormones are just as powerful then.
Do you feel like this is a harder concept for moms who have a professional day-to-day job like yourself, or stay-at-home moms, or is it kind of equally balanced between both groups in terms of figuring out, does self-care fit into my day-to-day, and am I taking that time to make sure that I'm lowering those cortisol levels and taking time for myself?
I think that's a great question. And I think it's hard for all of us. I think it's hard for stay-at-home, and I think it's hard for career moms. And I do want to make sure that you guys, this is not a hormone releasing podcast. But I think it's hard for both, because by nature, we are riddled with guilt no matter what we do. We feel riddled with guilt when we stay at home to take care of our children. We feel like we need to be the best fill in the blank at home. like, the best homemaker. My house has to be spotless. I am at home. Therefore, everything that I need to do needs to tend to my child or to my spouse or to this person. So you're being pulled, right? The person who is the career woman, the same thing. I need to be the best in my career. And when I get home, I need to be as much as I can. Even if you do have help in other aspects of your life, you're still riddled with guilt. Did I spend too much time away from my child? Will my child love me? Am I spending enough time with my spouse? And a lot of this, you're worried about a lot of external factors. So both stay-at-home moms and career women and moms are having this external factors that you're worrying about. Now, putting themselves first is such a challenging concept, because it's like, well, once I have my child, I'm no longer first. My child is first. No, your child can't be first, because if you are not there, what's going to happen to the child? You have to be first. It is the old adage that we hear about on the airplane about putting the oxygen mask on yourself, because your child will be happier having a mom that's there and present physically, emotionally, and spiritually than to have a mom that's there present physically and everything else is gone, right? So when you incorporate these small forms of self-care that we talk about here, you have filled your cup. Your cup is full, is overflowing, and all that overflow you have to give to everyone else. And you'll never feel as if you'll have to be riddled with guilt. You never feel doubt. You'll never feel that I'll have to sit and worry about if my child is going to care. Your child know that you love them. Your family knows that you love them. You're able to give everything to them, and you have no guilt because your cup is still full. You're given that overflow, and that overflow, once you're able to give that overflow and consistently give it over and over, you're happy, you're at your best, you're consistently at your best. So that's the way that we really have to look at this. We have to change the narrative and change the viewpoint that we have in our mind, that I'll give it once I've done everything else, whatever I left over. No, you're giving everything else after you filled yourself.
So how do you start?
It starts
what
by
permission do you give yourself, and that what's a baby step to get
so
to
a
that?
baby step that I always say is really look at first. It's going to require a little bit of time, and it requires of you thinking about what it is. It goes back to the beginning of what we talked about. What is it that you like to do? What have you removed from your life that you really liked that you can bring back? So, and it doesn't have to be huge. Like some people might be like, I loved to travel. And so, I mean, if you're stressed out, who wants to put together a vacation? That's just going to add stress, right? But what is it that you liked to do? Is it just that you want to start maybe looking at places that you will eventually want to go to, or even listening podcasts and, small steps? Is it, I love this particular type of food. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take myself to this particular type of place, but it's a me date. And no, you can't come along. Thank you for asking. But but it's really
I would put that mine is the Mexican.
yes, exactly. And sit, and if you drink, sit there, enjoy the meal in the middle of the day, have your margarita, and just make sure you're not drunk, and if you are, you Uber back. But it's just
latte.
Or your latte in the middle of the
right?
day, and really just sit. This is my latte holding position. Is this how you hold your latte?
Yeah, like this.
See, okay, my hands were a little closer. But it's really just taking, what are those little steps that you have to just give yourself a little bit of peace? What is it that you can sit and think about? Man, I used to love doing this, and I haven't done this in so long. fiction. I used to love reading romance novels. And oh my gosh, all I'm reading are her ABC books. And oh my gosh, if I see another Cocomelon thing, I'm going to go crazy. So why don't I take that time out and get a book, and I'm going to give myself 20 minutes of just like immersing into this fiction or this romance novel, and 20 minutes a day is all I need for myself. It does wonders.
Yeah, so I had this aha moment while you were talking a couple minutes ago
Mhm.
about moms need to stop feeling guilty, that they can't pour from an empty cup, that they have to take care of themselves first.
Mhm.
And if we choose not to,
Mhm.
if we choose to continue the rat race that we're living and working and momming in
Mhm.
without caring for ourselves, what example are we setting? What message are we sending to our children
Mhm.
about how moms should be?
Yes.
Oh, moms have to go, 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 and never care about themselves.
Mhm.
Right? Moms give and give and give, but can never take. Right?
Mhm.
What message are we sending? That we're just going to perpetuate the next
Another cycle.
generation living in that constant fight or flight that stage, right? Like we're
Absolutely.
creating more problems
Yes.
than we're solving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's very powerful when you look at it that way. And because if we look at ourselves and we look at our generation before us and we compare ourselves to that generation, and that's our benchmark as to what we consider a great XYZ, like, oh my gosh, if we even think about us, like, we had some of us had moms who were stay-at-home moms, and then some of us had moms who were career moms, right? And for those of us who might have had stay-at-home moms who were just really good and super organized, but we're career driven women, we now compare ourselves at home to our moms. So if our house isn't spick and span, like how mom used to do it, but we're trying to do that and be career, and we consider ourselves failure, right? Because we feel like we need to do everything that mom used to do at home because that's what we saw. And so that's the cycle that we're doing. And we're adding what we're doing at work and trying to do everything that mom did at home. So now, if we are now in this cycle that we're just doing that and we're burning ourselves out consistently in front of our kids are using us as the template, just like we used our parents as our template. So it's so important for us to learn how to break that cycle and let our children know that no, it's important to stop, take a break, and to pour into yourselves. And it's not selfish to do that.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to take a break and let Sandy read a word from our sponsor. And then when we come back, we want to hear about your show and the other resources that you have available for listeners who might want to learn more from you.
Absolutely.
Are you concerned about your child's reading or spelling performance? Are you worried your child's reading curriculum isn't thorough enough? Well, most learning struggles aren't the result of poor curriculum or instruction. They're typically caused by having cognitive skills that need to be strengthened. Skills like auditory processing, memory, and processing speed. Learning RX one-on-one brain training and structured literacy programs are designed to target and strengthen the skills that we rely on for reading, spelling, writing, and learning. Learning RX can help you identify which skills may be keeping your child from performing their best. The Learning RX team would like to help you get your child on the path to a brighter and more confident future. Join the growing list of more than 100,000 children and adults trained at Learning RX. Give Learning RX a call at 866-BRAIN01 or visit learningrx.com. That's learningrx.com.
And we're back talking to Dr. Tamara Beckford about the importance of self-care and how it is not selfish.
Absolutely.
So tell us about the Tamara Beckford show.
So I do myself have a podcast called the Dr. Tamara Beckford Show. So on my show, I get to highlight amazing physicians who are doing wonderful things inside and outside of clinical medicine. So if you're interested and I have a wonderful library of physician podcasts. I've interviewed over 150 of my colleagues, and they're all available on my Your Caring Docs website, which you were mentioning. So it's URCARINGDOCS.com. If you hit the podcast list, and you'll see all their beautiful faces, and you can click listen, and you'll see the different topics. Amazing.
There's so
things.
many of them. I was impressed with just how many different topics there were.
We've interviewed a couple of them, and we have another one coming up next week. So
yes, absolutely. Yes. No, they're very, very fantastic people. Amazing. I love hearing their stories, and I love showing and highlighting the different facets of things that we're doing outside of our clinical medicine. Things like this, like me talking about self-care, and you're like, what? You're our doc. I know. In between that, there's something important too, which is self-care.
What other ways
you are allowed to know more than one thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What other ways can listeners connect with you, Dr. Beckford?
So they can connect with me through LinkedIn. I am Tamara Beckford, MD, on LinkedIn. There you'll be able to see me live every Thursday at it's 12 Central. I have a live interview, and that's where my podcast is highlighted. So if you want to jump on live and go in the chat so I can give you a quick shout out during the show, then you can do that there. And then you can always go to my main website, like I said, yourcaringdocs.com. I have a free download there if you want to. Hey, where do I start this 4-week journey into self-care? Part of it does say journaling, Sandy, but you can choose if you want to or not. It's just, these are just ideas. They're not mandatory.
Sandy's like, I'm out.
Was going along until the journaling.
Yeah.
I love it. And then for anyone else who wants to connect with me, you can connect with me on Facebook at Tamara Beckford, or you can do so at Your Caring Docs on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you all.
Excellent. Is there anything you haven't gotten to say today that you would like to leave our listeners with?
I really want to highlight that, busy moms, we understand, we hear you, we see you. You're doing your best. And don't ever forget that. And, never let anyone try to riddle you with guilt for you taking time out to build yourself so that you can give your best to everyone else. That's okay. Don't feel guilty. And that's the importance of your self-care. You need to give to yourself also.
That's a great soundbite.
You can have it.
All right, so we're out of time and need to wrap up, but this has been a fantastic, really eye-opening and important conversation that we've had today. We would like to thank you, Dr. Tamara Beckford, for joining us, for sharing your wisdom and your tips in a unique way of looking at the importance of self-care and teaching us and our listeners that we don't have to feel guilty about taking time to renew and refresh ourselves.
Absolutely.
So if you would like more information about Dr. Beckford's work, her website is Your Caring Docs. That's URCaringDocs.com. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram at Your Caring Docs. And we'll put all of her links and handles, the ones that she mentioned as well, in the show notes so that you can find her and all of her amazing interviews and even go on the journey that she suggested as well. Journaling or not. So thank you so much for listening today. If you like us, please follow us on social media. We are on every platform at The Brainy Moms. If you liked our show today or any day, we would love it if you would leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to our show. If you would rather watch us, you and about 7 other people can see us on video. I'd like to say it that way because most people listen.
I know.
But we are on YouTube for those of you who want to watch. If you would like to be on our show or suggest a topic or guest for our show, you can email me directly at dramy@learningrx.com or visit brainymoms.co. So look, until next time, we know that you're busy moms and we're busy moms. So we're out.
Have a great week.
Bye.